Welcome everyone to So Many Games for Little Time. My name is Joachim and today I'll be talking about Wonderland's War, how to play, but also how I feel about it. Now the how to play is a little bit messier than usual because this game is big, alright? It's a really big game and I have a limited amount of space, so I had to make it a little bit messy. So just be warned. At the end, however, I will have a how I feel about it because we've played it 3 times now. Once with 2 players, and then once with 4 players, and once with 3 players. And I know it's a little bit early for review, but people who know the channel also know that I have a lot of games. I have a lot of kids, 3 of them. So I don't have that much time to play a game a lot. So yeah, just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. All right, so let's just start with how to play, shall we? All right, here we go. So let's start by opening the box and taking out what we need, shall we? So there's a lot of stuff in the box. We're definitely going to need these. These are the chips, all right? The bags. So let's say we're playing with 3 players, okay? That will allow me to show you everything you need to know. So let's do Alice, let's do the Red Queen, and let's take the Jabberwock, why not? So the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat, they go away. So I'll put this on the side for now. So the other stuff, don't really need. Storybook and the art prints, not necessary in this case. Rulebook, of course, we will definitely need. Put on the side. And this, even though it looks a bit big and unruly and whatever, unruly, it has rules, but whatever, this is actually really useful, but I'll explain why. Because I mean, many games have this, but also often they are tossed to the side, but I keep on coming back to this, so I'll tell you why later. So because we have these 3 people, you're going to need all their stuff. So you will need to take, for the Jabberwock, all his towers. So I'll put this to the side. And then for Alice, all her towers, which I'll put on the other side. And then also for the Red Queen, all her towers. Now these are very sturdy plastics, okay? So even though I just dropped one, don't worry, they are very sturdy. No need to cringe when that happens. Okay, so this cover, this plastic cover, we will not need anymore. So this you can put somewhere in a corner of your room, whatever, where you're playing, because it will no longer be useful, all right? These you need to keep close by for multiple reasons. First of all, the shards, they always jump out. I've seen someone put the standees in here to cover it up a bit more, but I don't have the standees anymore. I gave the standees to my daughter. Anyway, so who is 4, by the way, so she likes playing with it. So, sorry about that noise. So this, you keep it nearby because you will need it, as I'll show later. Look at this. And then of course you have the board, which we will now place. There you go. Boom, boom. There you go. I guess you could say this is a how to play from scratch, right? Because nothing is set up yet. So here's a board. I'm going to push it as much to the top as I can in the footage because normally nothing comes here anyway. It stays here. Okay, then I'll take this box back for now because there's certain things you need to put there. First of all, you take the player boards of every character that we're using. So in this case, we were taking the Red Queen, who I'll put here for now. And then we're taking Alice, who goes over here then. And then the Jabberwock, who will also put on the right. The others you will not need them for the rest of the game, so they can go away as well. Also, make sure that when you take the player board, you take the 3, 4, 5 player side, not the 2 player board, okay? So because some of the abilities are different on that side. Okay, so what are some other things that you need to take out of the box that's necessary? First of all, the cube. So we have the Jabberwock, who is green, so you'll take the green cube. You have the Red Queen, so red, and Alice, which is blue. And these 3 are the battle trackers. They'll go here. Okay, that's all. No need to look further than that. The shard die goes to the shard die spot. There we go. Yeah, there's no way to put it to cover it completely because it has multiple corners. So OCD people, I'm very sorry. Then you will take out the wager cards. Now these, you can see they're a little bit mixed up because you played multiple times. The wager cards will only give people wagers of the people that are playing. So for example, the Mad Hatter is not playing, so of course this deck is not used. The Cheshire Cat is not playing, so this deck is not used. So let me just remove them here. The Jabberwock is playing, so the Jabberwock would potentially get his cards. But then when you look at his cards, you can see you're only supposed to give him the people who are in the game, which is the Red Queen and Alice. So these 2 also are removed from the game. So the Jabberwock only gets these 2. So 2 for the Jabberwock. And then the same goes for Alice. So once again, Red Queen and Jabberwock. So these 2 are not in the game. So these are Alice's cards. And then the Red Queen. So Alice in the card and Jabberwock is in the game, but in the cards. So this goes to the Red Queen. Okay, so these wager cards now for the rest of the game, these just go back to the box and they're not used. So I'll put it here for a second. You have the quest cards. You very simply shuffle these and then put them on the side on the side of the board. Now before the game starts, everybody will draw 2 and keep 1, but I'll get to that in a minute. All right. So I'm going to put it to the side, which will be here, for example. All right, that's still in the shot. It is great. Then we have these big decks of cards. Okay. So the W's, those are the Wonderlandians, all right? So let me just, because like I said, we played yesterday, so I probably should have, you know, set this up a little bit different, but people who know my channel, they know I have small children, so my time is very, very limited. I have 3 of them, so yeah. So the W's are the Wonderlandians, and then these I'll refer to in a second. These are the A's, so basically these are the... I actually don't know what it means, the A's. These are just the regular chips that you can always buy. It's always the same people, but their power changes according to the letter. So you have C, B's. So for example, the Rook, C, B, D, it always has a different ability when you get it. So for now, to keep it simple, we'll take the A's because they're all together. So you take all the A's and the Forge card, all of those. All right, and you put them there for now, because we're just emptying the box at this point. We're not really putting it out just yet. All the stuff here stays out. Then you have this. We have the player aids. So these are these ones. So you can play this game with 5. So that's why you have 5 player aids. So one side has the war face, the other side has the tea party face. So obviously you give everybody 1. So in this case, 1, 2, 3. This goes back here. This is a cheat card, a player aid for the card set you've chosen. So we've chosen A, so we're going to be giving everybody an A. Now be careful though, on the other side of A it says B, so make sure everybody's looking at the same side. So everybody gets 1, 1, 1, 1, there you go. And this also goes back to the box. Those are done, okay? No more wagers, no more of these cards, they're all done. Next up, we have these cards, which have the number 1 on them. These are the T-set cards. We also have number 2 and number 3. Now, number 2 and number 3 we are not immediately using, so we are going to put them also on the side. So number 2 and number 3. Make sure to carefully shuffle them as well. So what do you do with these? I'm going to put them here for now because I want to clear out the box first and then put everything out. Here we have these scoring tiles. Now there are 6 scoring tiles, but there are 5 areas. So Pool of Tears, Meadow of Living Flowers, Tulgey Woods, Red Keep, and Wits End. So of these 5, you will turn them around, you will shuffle, 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 shuffle. And then you will put some random ones everywhere. So for example, 1 face up at the Pool of Tears. This one goes to the Meadow of Living Flowers. This one goes to Tulgey Woods. this one goes to the red keep, and this one goes to wit's end, and this one goes back to the box. Also, you have these two here. They came from this spot. Oh, you can't see it, can you? They came from this spot. Underneath these, you have these two, right? It's from here. So these two, they are used if you play with 3 players or 2 or 3 players, because you use these to cover up space 4 and space 5. So you remember that you don't put a tea party card there, okay? So that's why these are there, why they exist. Okay, and then finally, to get rid of this box, there are 2 more things we need to take from the box. One of them is everybody gets a shield. Now this is the broken side, this is the full side. So everybody gets a full shield, so each character gets one. So 1, 2, and 3. It goes back in the box. And then everybody will get their tokens and bits and pieces, okay? Now I'm gonna take it out, I'm gonna stop here, I'm gonna take it out and then remove this box, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, as you can see, the box is not gone yet, but because I forgot to mention that you also take out these little tokens in case you go farther than 50 points. So Red Queen, Alice, and then the Jabberwock, because these score tokens are used if you go past 49 again. I'll put them here in case they are required later on. So these go back in the box, and then this box is completely done. You're finished with this, it's gone. So what happens next? Because we have all this stuff, it's a little bit of a mess, as you can see. First, we'll focus on the board. So we're going to put the Wonderlandians away for a second, and the creatures, well, the other ones as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle the tea party cards. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then you are going to put a tea party card on each spot at the table, but not here and here, because that's where we put it. So I'm OCD, so I make sure that one is always like this, but you can just do whatever you want, obviously. So, I mean, I'm not OCD, we all have a little bit of OCD, I guess. It's not that bad. So you place your cards, dun, 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 dun. There we go. Up, that's done. And the rest of them, you place them here. So this is for the first round. Second round cards and third round cards are on the side. Preferably, if you want to cut down on playing time, you make sure everything is shuffled beforehand. Of course, that will save you a lot of time. All right, so what else happens on the board? You can see the Red Queen's pieces are kind of on top of this here. So I'm going to move it all to the side so you can see the full board. I've already placed the parts. Everything is almost done. There's still some things that need to be added. One thing is that we're supposed to add are the madness shards. So there we go. The shards, they go over here. Now I will be moving these quite soon, and I'll tell you why. But this is the setup according to the rulebook, okay? So these are worth 5 or 10, whatever you want. I guess 5 would be best. Also, you take out the people who are playing. So we have the Jabberwock, and they put them at the head of the table. So the Jabberwock, we also have the Red Queen, and we also have Alice. And there's another shard here. Alice, where are you? Here's Alice. There we go. And you put them there. These other ones are Wonderlandians who might come out during the recording, all right? So during the recording, during the game, I mean. What else needs to be here? Well, there's a glaring, oh, there's one more thing. One more thing that we need. That is the sword, okay? The sword is the sword of battle. It starts in the red keep. Now, at the start of the game, whoever's first player will roll the die. And depending on the amount of shards, this will move, and then the first battle will occur there later. So might as well do it now. 2, so 1, 2. That means the first battle will happen in the meadow of living flowers. This is important for various reasons that I'll get back to later. Okay, what else do we need? Now we have this big cake here. This big cake is going to get covered by chips. So take the chip box, because there are a lot of chips in the chip box. So we'll put it a bit sideways. So I have room. Okay, open it, put the sword out of the way. So there's a lot of chips in the chip box. You can see everything here. You can see madness is there. So we will take the madness chips and put them on the cake. It's better to have multiple stacks because otherwise they are very prone to be knocked down. There we go. You also have these doubles. The doubles, everybody gets one. Okay, so I'm just gonna put 3 here for now, but I will be giving this to the characters when I'm doing character setup. So the other 2, they stay in the box. Of course, if you play with 5, all 5 of them will be here. If you play with 2, there'll be 2 there, and so on and so on. Okay, so that is done. Now there's more stuff that comes from here, but at the moment I'm not going to do it yet because that's not the setup I'm doing right now. The next setup that I am doing, however, is the next piece of the board, and that is we need to have score markers. So every character will give one of these and then put it at the top right corner. Here you go. So that's already set up. Anything else we need to do? The next thing we need to do is I'm going to make room, because normally this game is big, all right? It takes up a lot of space. So I want to try to make sure I don't take up too much space around the board, and I want to make sure people can see what's going on. So what I have done, you can also see it in the playthrough, is normally you place the Wonderland creatures to the side of the board or at the top of the board so people can see it. Well, I put them in the middle of the table. So what I do is I move all the madness shards around here, around the chips. I always want to say discs, around the chips, not covering the plates because the plates is where the people go. So, and then I shuffle my Wonderlandians. Very, very, very quick shuffle. And then place 3 cards here. So for example, we have the March Hare, we have the Griffin, okay, and then we even move past a little bit more, and the White Rabbit. Now, you probably notice it, maybe not, but here on the White Rabbit it says promo card. That means somewhere in here there is another White Rabbit. Here you go, here's another one. So because there's a promo card and the regular card, and you can see the standee is the same. So what we do, it's not really mentioned in the rules, but what we do is we just shuffle everything, and when the White Rabbit comes out, that is the one that will be used in the game. If the promo card later on comes out, it's just shuffled back in or thrown to the side or whatever. It's no longer available. So whichever card comes out first happens. Now if you're thinking, where did you get promo cards? That was added as an extra thing to the campaign to cover more shipping. So that's why we have it in this case. So now we go back, because we happen to have 3 people. So I'm going to change one. I'm going to change one to an item. If I can find one. Yeah, for example, Crown of the Knave. So I'm going to remove the White Rabbit. It's a promo card anyway. So we remove him. Okay. And a Crown of the Knave. So we have 2 different types of Wonderlandian creatures. Also, I put the deck on the side. There's no discard for Wonderlandians because everything is always shuffled back in for the next round. So you take this back, okay, and you look for the March Hare. In this case, it's the bunny that's upside down. Where is he? I'm blind. I can't see it. You've already seen it. Okay, here you go. And you put it here. Now you can cover the 2, or you can put it next to it, because if you cover the 2, people will not know that it has a strength of 2. So I'll just put it here, or just for the sake of the video, I'll put it like this. So on top of here, there you go. Then we have the Griffin. The Griffin is pretty huge compared to the rest, so I'll put them down there. And then we also need to have the chips, because this one has chips. This does not have a special miniature or whatever. Now the chip is a little bit special because it says 1, so people tend to say, oh, there's 1 chip, but no, the 1 is the strength. So you check which chip it is that you need. In this case, these 2, all right, and you put these 2 on top of here. All right, how you get them, what you do, I'll explain later on. This is still set up after all. So I put these in the middle. it makes the board a little bit busier, I know, but it's easier to see for everyone. Because if I put it there, it requires more table space. And also if I put it there, no one can sit here. Even now it's already a little bit tight. But yeah, it is what it is. Actually, I'm gonna move my board a little bit up here, so I have more space for Alice or the Red Queen later on. Okay, so I think this is actually it for the board. I don't recall anything else that's supposed to be set up, so that is fine. So now we go to the player mats. So let's take the Red Queen, who is right here in front of me. Okay, so once again, make sure you're playing the correct side, because this is 2-player, this is normal player. Okay, now what all the special abilities, I will explain later what they do, same as this, as I've explained how the game works. Otherwise it's not gonna make much sense. This is purely setup. Okay, so I'll put it here. Normally I put it here, obviously, but for a better view, I'll put it here. So how do you set up? First of all, you see there are supporters here, so you just take that amount of supporters and put it here. So one, and there's 2 guys here, so 2 of them on top of each other. There you go, easy peasy. Then you have these little arrows here, the skills. Now they are shaped round, so a perfect match is this. Hup. So that just means that this skill has not been unlocked yet, but you can unlock it later. And then we have 1 more of these left. These go on to your leader strength. You start at 1. Okay. Anything else there is your shield. Your shield goes on top here. Full shield, not broken. Anything else that you have, so your supporters here, the rest of the supporters, and your towers, 5 towers, because 5 locations, they just go to the side of your board, because they will be used later. Okay, so this goes down, 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 down. There we go. We'll get back to it later as I'm explaining the game. And you can see my table is already a little bit too small for the Queen of Hearts. Now I'm using a camera arm attached to the table. Normally I would have the board be a little bit over the edge, so the Red Queen would have more space. But in this case, you know, it's just a video, so we'll be fine. How do we organize the bag of the Red Queen? Now, every character has chips, because you need chips for your bag, right? But before we take her chips, what you do at the start is you take 1 double and 2 basic madness chips. Okay, these 3 already go in. So 2 basic madness and 1 double madness. Hup, that goes in. Same goes for the Jabberwock, 1 double, 2 singles. Hup. And the same for Alice, 1 double, 2 singles. Why am I doing it 3 times? Because repetition. You'll remember it more easily that way. Then we take, once again, the chips. Okay. Now in the chips, we have all the colors, because you've seen the colors already, right? Now you might have already spotted, you haven't done the creatures yet. I'll do that later when I clear some space, when I zoom out. So don't worry about it, it's coming. So you have all these colors. These are the regular chips that you can recruit. These are the forge ones. Here, these are the ones that are important now. These are the people. So we're doing the characters, your player pieces. So we're the Red Queen. So we take the Red Queen pieces. Now, there's a lot of them. They don't all go in your bag, because 4 of these strength level 3s, so in this case the axes, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 of these go to the side of your player board. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right side. Okay, now I can see you can't 100% see it in the screen, so I'll move it up a little bit. Okay, you can see it better now at all 4, because these will be unlocked throughout the game. And then you have 6 left. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these 6 go into your bag. So you already have the 3 madness, then these 6, they go in, and everybody also takes 1 extra forge chip. Done. Now, then we have the Jabberwock. Okay, the Jabberwock has all of these. Same reason, same for him, except his strength 3s are claws, not axes. Okay, so you take 4 of these, they will go to his player mat. The other 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they will go to his bag, in his bag, and also 1 forge chip. And then we have Alice, who's here. She doesn't have an axe or a claw, but she has a sword, so she gets 4 level 3 swords that go to her player board, and the rest, the other 6, they go to her bag, alongside 1 forge chip. Done. So now everyone's bag is basically set up. The only thing we still have to do with these chips is the middle ones. And one more thing, the Jabberwock is a little bit special. He gets these poison chips, which I will explain later on what they do. Now, for this, keep this handy because, well, you have 2 options. Either you keep it nearby, because these things might come out, or you just take all of them out, put them next to the board, and then place them on the Wonderland cards as they come out. Because remember, this one came from here. You can just take them out. These 2 are no longer used, and all of these I will now place, okay, in a certain position and space. So I'm gonna move the red queen back down and fix the earthquake effects. All right, so we now have all these cards that you have to put somewhere. So as I said, space is a little bit of a difficult thing here with Wonderland's War. So I'm going to move this a little bit to the left, up, and then I'm going to move all these decks to the right side. Now obviously these cards, you want to put them in view, but actually you don't even have to put these cards out if you don't want to. If you say like, look, I really don't have the space, you can just put the chips out, not the cards, because everything is explained on this card already. When this chip is exhausted, return it to the supply and gain the other value creature chip to your exhausted pool. When this chip is exhausted, return it to the supply and gain the other value creature chip to your exhausted pool. It's the same thing, right? Of course, it looks very nice when you spread these out and put the chips on top of it. It looks fantastic, but it's not necessary. You can just, people can just look at this and take it from the box. Done. You've saved a lot of space. But now, just for, you know, for the eye candy, I'll put them out anyway. So let me just move these decks to the side first. Same with these 2 and 3 decks here. You can even just leave them in the box or put them on the side here for later turns. Let's just do it like this so we know what's coming, right? There will be units here fighting, but it's up to you whether you want to make your board busier or not. I'm just doing it with what I'm just working with what I have here, okay? So put one here, this one here. Does this work? Can I go next to it? You guys still see it? You do. Fantastic. And the roses, red rook, and I'll put this underneath. There you go. And then once again, we go back to the chips. Okay, then we go back to the chips and we put them out. Now I'm holding it in my hand because otherwise it'll be a little bit too difficult to see where everything is going, of course. So first of all, take the forge discs. I'm not going to take all of them. This is just purely for an example. So you put them on, very simple. There we go. And then you have value 1 and the level 1. No, sorry. You have the weak and strong versions. Like for example, this is weak because it has 1 dot. Okay. This is strong because it has 2 dots. And the strength differs. For example, a weak rook is still 3, while a strong rook is 6. Right. So for example, here are the card soldiers. There you go, 1 and 2. And then we have the roses. Big fan of the roses, at least of their skill in the first set. If you're not playing with 5, it's not necessary to put everything out, okay? Because they very likely won't all be used anyway. If you're playing with 5, sorry, if you're playing with 3, I mean. If you're playing with 5, maybe you could, but putting everything out just gives you more work, so it's not really necessary. So you put everything out. 5, 1, Also, if you leave some chips in the box, it's a lot easier to do cleanup because you already can see where it's supposed to go. And the last one. Okay, so potentially this is now done. You can put all of this to the side and then just take it, or you can keep the box nearby and use it that way. Okay, there's one more thing that we have to talk about, and that is the, well, two more things. That is the shards. So you need to check this little spot here in the rulebook where you can see with how many people you are playing and also who is first player, because it says how many shards you get. So in this case, let's say the queen is first, she'll get 3 shards that I already gave. Alice gets 2 and the Jabba gets 1. Also, everybody gets 2 quest cards and chooses 1. So we draw 2, choose 1, and then 1 is discarded. Okay. All right. And I think that is it. A small caveat: when you get the 2 quest cards, the other one is not discarded; it's just shuffled back into the deck. So that is quite important as well, actually, because in our playthrough that we did, we actually just made a discard pile, which we were not supposed to do. I just realized. Okay, so let's start and see how the game plays, shall we? Alright, so the game of Wonderland's War, you have 3 rounds. You can see 1, 2, and 3. And then in a round, there'll be 2 phases. The first phase is a tea party phase, where everybody will be going around the tea party, taking cards and basically gearing up for war. And then the second phase will be that we actually do battle all around the board, in every location. So let's say we already said that the red queen is first player. So it's very important that you know what everything does, and with that I mean what all the icons mean. So let's say this is the red queen, right? So she will fall down on her face. No, she'll start here, and she will go to one of these locations, one of these plates. They refer to a card. All right, so this is the red queen. So let's say she goes here and takes this card. So what does this mean? She will get 1 forge chip and then takes a weak chip of her choice. Now, everything has a weak chip. The forge chips actually as well. There is no dots, but there is a dot here on the card that explains what it does. So it is actually weak as well. So if she chooses 2 chips, for example, she'll choose forge and she'll choose a red rook, okay? And she can also place 1 unit in any one of the locations. So in Pool of Tears, Meadow of Living Flowers, Tolji Woods, Red Keep, or Wits End. Now, why would she choose this one? Why not choose something else? This will mostly be driven by your quests. So before we do anything else, we'll check out the quests. Let's say she got these 2 quests. Well, I'll take a quest that has a different location. So let's say she has these 2 quests. First of all, you look at the top, because the top shows the location. This one here means it's Pool of Tears. You can see the coloring, also the boat. The boat is also there. And here, this location is Wits End, because you can see the cake. So that's where the locations are. Now, the way the quests are built up is the top part you try to do first. So they are hidden. If you do the top part and you successfully do it, then you flip it over and you tell everyone, look, hey, I finished my quest. And then you try to do the bottom one as well, because end game objective, end game scoring. So you have a feat and the end game objective. If you manage to do both, you see 3 and 3. If you manage to do both, then you get another +3 that becomes 9 points. Okay. So very important to know that you cannot do the bottom if you haven't done the top. So it'll be secret. Manage to do the top, then the bottom becomes available. Also, people around the table should know what your bottom is, your objective, because they might want to hate draft, like not hate draft, but take a card you want or whatever. They need to be able to block you if the moment is there. You know, it might just affect them. Okay, so what these quests do, like the reason why do these influence here? Well, very simple. The bottom will influence your cards. The top influences the battle. Okay, so for example, if you choose to keep this card, you're going to want to focus on these 2, because in total of these you need to have 7. Now, very important, these are chips that you get, right? But very important, it's not just the chips in your bag. It can be chips anywhere on the board or your player board as well, okay? So not just in your bag. Here, for example, 4 or more split or corrupted Tea Party cards. You can see there is no corruption card out, but there's a split card here, there's a split card here, there's a split card there, so they count toward it as well. So there's other examples, for example, 5 or fewer shards, so she has 3 already, but it's at the end of the game, of course. 5 strong allied chips, so 2 pips, okay? So all of these will affect your card choices here. The top has more to do with battles. So, for example, this one here is in Red Keep. Now, this is to do with battles because they want you to stop at a certain time or achieve a certain feat to do it. But I'll get back to these later when we actually do battling, okay? So, here, I already explained this. She could also place 1 person. Now, the Red Queen has a special ability. Let's say she goes here and not here. And let's say she can place 3 people. Normally, a normal character has to put all 3 in 1 location. So, for example, if the Jabberwock had it, he has to put all 3 supporters, because that's what they're called, supporters, in 1 region. For example, Meadow of Living Flowers. Very important as well. Because even though the card is here, it is not connected to these spaces. Not. You put your people wherever you want to put them. But every character has to put all of them in 1 region, except for the Red Queen. Because the Red Queen, her special ability is Red Army. It says so here, you may place supporters into multiple regions. So she can take these 3 and say, oh, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, and that's perfectly fine, okay? So that's her special ability. This one also says, this one means get rid of 1 shard and get a Forge token or get a Wonderlandian. Now, the Wonderlandians, they work a little bit differently than everything else. First, we'll do the easy one. If you choose to take the Crown of the Knave, you take the card, put it next to your board, and these 2 chips go into your bag, okay? And then when they come out, they'll do what it says. So in this case, the next chip each opponent draws has 0 strength, and their strength cannot be increased by other effects. So basically, you're making sure the next draw will be nothing, all right? Of course, they might always draw Madness, but that's something else. The Wonderlandians themselves, because these are their equipment, right? But the Wonderlandians themselves, they work differently. So for example, let's say you take the March Hare. You once again put it next to you, and then you immediately have to place the March Hare in an area. So for example, let's say he's going to join the let's do it more tactical. Let's say I put this one here actually, because it's 6 points in the first round. So he's going to join this supporter here, and he has a strength of 2. Okay, so at the moment the Red Queen here has 2 + 1, 3 strength for when they fight. And also it says at the start of battle, each other player loses 1 strength for each leader or Wonderlandian they have in this region. So it basically weakens other people. So you take this, put it with you, and then it will stay there for the rest of the game. Unless he dies, but then I'll talk about that later. And then the new one comes out, so in this case it would be the White Rabbit. You look for the White Rabbit here, put him here. And for example, his skill is if you are the first player to stop in a battle with the White Rabbit, you gain 5 strength. Tires do not count. So okay, let's say she did this. She took the Wonderlandian, she placed her troops, then she takes this card and puts it here. Now we tend to put it underneath here, but you can just put it to the side, it doesn't really matter. The reason why you keep the card is so you can later on refer back to it to remember what you have put in your bag. Because there's one important rule. You can always look in your bag throughout the game, except during the battle phase. When we're battling, you can no longer look in your bag, because otherwise we're like, oh, you can see, you're not supposed to look at it. But during the tea phase, the tea party phase, you can look in your bag as much as you want. All right, let's say that's the queen done. Let's say then it's that's Alice. Now, as I said, the queen's special ability was that she can place multiple supporters in different regions. Now for Alice, she has a different special ability. Strange reflection. She moves counterclockwise around the tea party board. That's her special ability. So she just goes this way, which is really good because nobody's going to go to these cards first. And the reason why is because, let's say, when you go around completely and you get back here, you're going to roll a die. But I'll explain that in a minute. I don't want to go too fast. So she goes this way. Let's say she will go for something that I haven't explained yet. Well, I can do this one, for example. What's so special about this? This is a powerful card because this allows you to unlock one of your special skills here. Okay, remember normally these are covered like this, and then you take one off and then you activate it. Okay, but you also get a weak chip of your choice. This is pretty powerful, and because it's powerful, you have to roll the shard die. So let's say Alice does this, she'll get 2 shards. Now shards are very annoying, and I'll get back to that later. So that's what that means. Here as well, you get 2 chips, but once again, you have to roll, and you get 2 people. Here, upgrade or Wonderlandian and 2 people. Here, you get one of those chips, the card soldiers, weak one, and a quest, and you place 1 person. So this is a quest token. So you just take 1 quest and you add it to the rest of your quests. Same thing, except this is a flamingo. Once again, the choice. Get a shard, get rid of a shard, and so on. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Here you get 2 rooks of value 3, so weak ones, and you roll the die again. So the units will be going around taking cards. So for example, let's say she did this, right? She took it, she unlocked the skill, and she got a chip, and blah, blah, blah. Now, the Jabberwock, his special ability is, at the start of your turn, if there are no poison chips in play, place 1 on any card. If another player takes that card, they gain the poison. So his poison chip, in setup, it's important. It is the amount of players plus 2, if I am not mistaken. Let me just very quickly double check that. Yes. So with 3, so he would get 5 poison chips. The other 2 go back to the box. Okay. So he would take 1 poison chip and say, you know what? I really like this card. I don't want anyone else to take it. I'm going to put it on here. Now, of course, other people could still take it, but then they put this in their bag. And what it does is, when it comes out, it will kill one of their supporters, okay, or Wonderlandians or their leader. They will kill a unit, okay. So nobody really wants this because it's a bad thing. So he can use this to dissuade people from getting a card, so he can pick it up later. Because if he picks it up, he does not put this in his bag, he just puts it in his supply. It's fine. So let's say he just says, I'm going to get the rook, the double rooks, and place 2 people. So he can place 2 people. Now I'm not actively taking the chips, but he can take 2 people and he will place them, for example, here. Actually, I should probably place the chips just so we can have the bell example later. So he has 2 chips. Let's say she took a rose. There we go. All right. So he also has to roll a die for the shards. So he has 2 shards on top of the other shards he already had. So that goes away. So we keep going. Now, what did I say about going around? So we're going to fast forward a little bit and say Queen went here, did this, it's gone. Jabberwock went there, ended up not taking his poison. Alice went here, there we go. Up. Stuff like that. So let's say it's like this. And let's say it's now the Jabberwock's turn. Now you know the Jabberwock is going clockwise. There's no more card for them to take. And normally the round ends when everyone has taken 4 cards. Okay. Okay, so at this point, the Red Queen has 3, Alice has 3, the Jabberwock has 2. So he needs to get his 3rd card. Because once again, when you have 4, this round will end. So he does not have any card to take anymore. So what does he have to do? He goes back around to the head of the table. And when you go back around, you have to roll the shard die again. So 3. Horrible. he gets 3 shards on top of all the other shards he already has, which is of course a bad deal for him. But then after this happens, you refresh. So when somebody reaches the head of the table again, you refresh and you add more cards. So up. So all these come out, some of them with new chips options. There we go. And with some new icons, which is good for me to explain. So for example, this icon means, the sword means you increase your leader strength. Okay, so your leader strength is at the bottom. You start at 1, and then as you upgrade, you can go all the way up to 6. If you're at 6 and you upgrade it again, then you can get rid of 1 shard. You can throw it away. Alright, so any other icons? Not that I can see. No, everything is the same. Those are all, they all refer to the chips, of course. So he's done that, and then he just goes to somewhere else. For example, this is a special card. This means he can place 2 people, so 2 supporters on the board, upgrade one of his skills, and then roll the die again to get another 2, which he can then place in a different region or the same region, depends if he wants. So he's not playing very well, but he's doing this anyway. Gets another 2 shards. There we go. But now he can place 4 people and upgrade his skill. So he's going to say, I want to spread out as much as possible. I'm going to the 6 here as well. I'm going to go to Wit's End here as well, and then upgrade one of my skills. Done. What happens, so every time somebody reaches here, either way, either direction, because as we know, Alice goes the other way. When they go here, they always roll the die and everything is always refreshed. Only the empty spaces are refreshed, okay? So if Alice now says, I want to have this one, and ignores these 2, then she will go here, roll the die, and this will be refreshed, and then she can go there, whatever, okay? So, what happens if you take your last card? Because now it's the Red Queen's turn. She already has 3 cards. She's going to get a 4th. That's going to be her last card. So let's say she does this. She gets a Forge disc. She increases her strength by 1. Gets rid of a shard. And that's it. Adds it to here. Then she, since it's her last card, she will put herself in one of the locations as well. So let's say she's gonna go here by herself. Done. Then it's Alice. Alice takes a random card. For example, this. Up. So 1. And removes a shard. There we go. And she can place 3 people. For example, she puts them in the Pool of Tears. Let's all just go there. And then she can go somewhere herself, gets her last card, she'll go to the Red Keep. Or, yeah, sure. And then the Jabberwock does the same thing. He goes here, rolls a die again. This is really, actually is really bad. He shouldn't be doing this at all. He'll go here, he'll finally take his thing, get rid of a shard. He will get another Wonderlandian. Maybe the Crown of the Knave. There we go. Put it in with his stuff. Put on the side. And you can also place 1 follower, which you put here. Okay. So once that is done, you check on who has the most amount of shards. Now in this case, she has 2. Alice has managed to only have 1. But the Red Queen, the Jabberwock has 6. Let's say, for example's sake, he has 5, right? He has the most amount. So he's going to lose half, rounded up. So he's going to lose 3. He still has 2 left. And that means he will get 1 madness chip. And then everybody else will also get 1 madness, because that always happens at the end of the round. Everyone gets 1 madness, but whoever has the most shards gets an extra madness. So the Jabberwock gets 2, the Queen 1, and Alice gets 1 as well. Then that phase is completely done. It's over. The Wonderlandians that are still remaining, they will disappear later on. The cards will also be replaced by level 2s. Normally that happens at the end of the round. Oh yeah, sorry, the Jabberwock will have to go somewhere. Let's say he goes here. That doesn't make sense. Let's say he goes here. Okay, so these will no longer be used. Everything in the middle will no longer be used. Now we are going to battle. Now, let me just set up the battle phase as being a little bit more realistic, okay? Okay, I've given everyone a quest that makes sense to where they want to go. And also I've divided the troops with a little bit more sense, let's put it like that. Okay, so how does the battle exactly work? Well, first of all, you look at where the sword is. So this one. So this is where the first battle takes place. So first you add up all the strength. So the Jabberwock is there, which has 1 strength because he doesn't have any other followers, just the hero, just the character. Then we have the Queen, who has a strength of 2, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. There we go. And then we have Alice, who has 1 follower, so also 1. Okay. Now, if we look at the quests, the Jabberwock, his quest has to do with Wit's End, so it doesn't really care about quest-wise there. The Red Queen, her quest's focus is on Tulgey Woods, so that has nothing to do with it. And Alice, her quest focus on the Red Keep. So the Meadow of Living Flowers, everyone is there to either win. If you manage to win, you get to put your castle, and you get 2 points. If you're second, you get half of the points, which is 1. If you're third, you get nothing. If you tie the victory, then you either take the points or the castle. If you tie in second place, you both get 1. So what's going to happen? Everyone is going to draw a disc at the same time. Now, it's very difficult for me to draw at the same time because there's 3 people, but I will put the bags next to each other like this and draw like that. So the Jabberwock, his first one is 1. So what happens then, if you look at your board, you will put it here on the top in your active chips. So he has 1, okay? So it's off screen, but he has 1, so he goes up 1. Once again, normally you do this at the same time. Then the Red Queen has 1 as well, so we can put that here. And then Alice draws, and she has Madness. Now Madness means that she has 2 options. So the Madness will come here regardless, right? So Madness means 1 unit is killed. Now she only has 1 unit here. So if she dies, she busts. If she busts, that means she goes down to 0 and she gets nothing. No points, no second or third place, nothing, nada, nothing. Even chips that would give her bonuses, everything is gone. Nothing matters, okay? So, however, if she says, no, I really want to be in this battle, she can flip her shield and then nothing happens. Although the Madness does stay there. Now, she's not going to flip her shield. She's going to say, okay, I'm going to bust because it's only 2 points. I only have 1 person there. I don't really care about this. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So, she is going to bust. She's out of the game now. So, that means I no longer have to draw. Then, these 2. So dun. So Red Queen. Also, at any time you can stop the battle. So now the Jabberwock can say, I am going to stop, because he might want to stop because he's on a forge spot. You can see the hammer here. You know you have the forge chips already. If you draw a forge chip, you can forge. But if you are on the forge spot, you can also forge. And what does that mean? That means that, remember this on your board. Remember this. So also with the units here, up, and then 2 more. That means that if he decides to forge, remember he has 1 active chip, he could stop now and say that he forges. That means he takes this chip and covers up one of the leftmost spots. So for example, if he covers up this spot, he would get rid of a shard. If he covers up this spot, his leader strength will go up by 1. I know this has 2 player, just ignore it. It's still valid. If you put it here, increase your leadership by 1. Put it here, you get a person and a quest. Put it here. Your towers from now on are worth 3 points at the end of the game. Base value is 3. They can go all the way up to 7. If you forge again later on, then this chip will go in your bag, and whatever you forge with will cover this one. Okay, so just to check, the forge spots are the same in a more player game, except the towers here are 7, here they're 6. Okay, so you get the gist. So, but he's going to stop, which means the red queen instantly wins. Now, even if the red queen wanted to go to 5, she can no longer draw because the Jabberwock has stopped. So, yeah. The choices of stopping or not happens in turn order. So you can say, first player, are you going to stop? 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 Stuff like that. And then whoever is still in the game will then draw. But now the Jabberwock has stopped. So the red queen has already won. She is not allowed to continue drawing. Okay, if you've won, that's it. So she wins, she gets 2 points, so boom, 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 and she gets to place her castle here. And then, oh, by the way, Alice was dead, so her border was supposed to be removed. And the Jabberwock gets half of 2, which is 1. Now what happens? You can see the red queen's board here, which I'm going to move up a little bit so you can see it better. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Her active chip. This is her active chip. The round is over, the battle is over. The active chips that you have here, they go to the bottom. Seems like I have to go even higher for you guys to see. Because here you have exhausted chips. This is where your active chips would go. So if at one point your madness chip row is completely filled up, then all your madness chips and your exhausted chips will all go back into your bag. Your current active ones, if it's in the middle of the battle, these ones, they will not go in the bag, okay? Only this and whatever is here will go in the bag. So this is now exhausted. And we go to the next battle. Now, this case, there's 3 people there. Now we are going to fight because I think one of them has a quest there. If I'm not mistaken. No, nobody has a quest there. So now we go on to the next battle right here. Okay, so everybody draws again. You check the value. So 2, the hair is from the queen. So the hair only has the value of 2. There's no other leaders or whatever, so the effect of the hair does not apply. So the red queen starts at 4, Jabberwock starts at 2, and Alice starts at 3. So the red queen draws a 2. So it goes back to the top here. There we go. And then the Jabberwock draws madness. So the Jabberwock chooses to just lose one person, but he's still in the game. He's not using his shield. And then Alice draws one. So this means that her next chip will double. Okay. So she gets 1, and the next chip will double. So no one's going to stop. Everyone's going to continue. The queen gets a madness, so she also loses a supporter and goes back down. Does not use her shield. So you can see madness chip is now here. Then the Jabberwock has a 2. So he goes up 2. Yep. And Alice, remember her next chip is double. So, oh, it's a madness. So she loses 1. But the effect of the flamingo still happens because it says double the strength of the next chip you place on your active track. So it doesn't double the madness, by the way. So let's continue. The red queen still keeps going on. Everybody still keeps going on. So she has a forge one and goes up 1. Yep. The Jabberwock has a 3 claw. 1, 2, 3. Now this is a good time to show you what the special abilities do. Now, at this point, every character, well, not at this point in the game, every character has 4 special abilities. 2 of them apply to their artifact chips, which are basically the strong chips, the value 3 chips. So these ones, okay? You can see a miniature picture of there as well. All right. So it says here, when played, claw chips gain +2 strength if you are not in the lead on the battle track. So he had 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. He was here. So if he had unlocked this skill, it would have effectively been 5. So it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example. Or claws that catch. On the next draw, any opponent that plays a chip with a base strength of 1 gains a poison chip. So then he's basically putting poison chips in other people's bags. All right. Beware the Jabberwock. When you fill your madness track, so this, increase your leader strength by 1 and then add your leader strength to the current battle. So it's also really powerful. And Borogovs, when you gain a creature chip, creatures are these green ones. During the tea party, place +1 supporter. When you play a creature chip, it gains +1 strength. So basically, with him, these chips are very powerful if you do this, because they allow you to put up more people and your creatures themselves are stronger. Okay, so the Red Queen has painted red. When you play a War Axe chip, so these 3s that haven't come out yet for her, you may lose 1 unit from any region to give that chip +2 strength. So basically you could say, oh, you know, I'm going to kill this one because the battle's over already. Now that one has +2. Or Royal Temper, when you play a War Axe chip, steal 1 VP from the player who is in the lead on the battle track. So then suddenly you are going to be stealing points from other people. Twice as fast, if you move past at least 1 leader during the tea party phase, you can place an extra person. Okay. And off with their heads, when the Red Queen is placed into a region, all opponents lose 1 supporter from that region. Very good if you are the last person to place your queen. Because if you are last, then you're basically, you know, reducing the competition in that area, and you might just be the only one. I'll give you an example. If you place her, for example, there, then you get rid of the Jabberwock already, and Alice would have 1 left. So very powerful. And what does Alice have? Alice has the Sword of Hope. When you play a Sword of Hope chip, flip your shield token to the unbroken side. So basically, she can use her shield more often and then always refresh it. Everywhere at once, at the end of a battle, if you have an active Sword of Hope chip, so if it's somewhere here, you may lose 1 unit from a region to place Alice into that region. So she can basically hop around. One of the units will change to her. It's really good, especially if her strength is high. Love of Learning. At the end of the battle, if you did not bust, return an active chip with strength 1 or 2 to your bag. So as long as you're still alive at the end, you can just put it back in your bag, one of them. And Befriend the Populace, this is my favorite. This is really awesome. When Alice is placed into a region from the tea party, gain a random Wonderlandian standee. At the end of the war phase, discard a standee. So basically, you put Alice somewhere, and then you get a Wonderlandian from the deck, which will help her in that phase. And after the phase, it's gone. So really, really nice. So all characters, also the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat, they all have these special abilities that can really swing battles. Yeah, so it's really, really cool. All right, so those are the special abilities that you can have and unlock and so on. All right, I'm gonna stop that battle. Like for example, if somebody won here, they would get the 6 points in the first round and a castle. If they tie, they would either choose the castle or the points. If you tie second place, they will both get 3 points. If you're the only one in second place, you get 3 points. Third place gets nothing. Second round would be 6, third round would be 8, okay? But let's go over here. Let's take a look. I'm not even going to do the battles anymore. I'll just tell you what the quests would be that you could do. All right, for example, the quest that Alice would want to do is in the Red Keep, because you can see the top, and then the Red Keep, the arts. And the battle on a forge symbol in the Red Keep. So basically, she would battle, but she wants her blue cube to be either here, 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 or here. Because if she's there and then stops the battle, she has finished this, which will give her 3 points at the end of the game. And then if she managed to get 4 or more Tea Party cards with no supporters, which means, for example, this one, This one has no supporters. This one has a supporter, right? She has 4 more of that, then she would get those points as well. So all together would be 9 points. Okay, that would be Alice's her aim. The Red Queen, she was focusing on Tulgey Woods, which means end the battle on a forge symbol in Tulgey Woods. Same thing actually. It's not very something else. For example, here, and the no, because that's what he has here. End the battle with a faction or artifact chip as your final active chip in Wit's End. So that means faction or artifact chip is basically just chips that belong to you. The red ones for the queen, the blue ones for Alice, the green ones for the Jabberwock. If you finish the battle and the last active chip is one of yours, so for example, if it was like this, then she would be able to complete this if it's in Wit's End, and then the rest later on. And then for the Jabberwock on birthday party, and the battle with strength 3, 4, 9, or 10 in Wit's End. So you make sure you're either on one of those, and then you stop and you get it. So it is also a strategic choice to decide whether or not you do it or not, because especially in the last round, a battle can give you 12 points. You really want to stop early to get maximum 9 points. In the beginning of the game, it's really good to get it. So it's also choices that you have to make. Also, one specific thing that two more specific things that I want to focus on is when you're on here, you can forge, right? But when you have this one, you can also forge. So let's say the Red Queen is here, she's on a forge spot, and she has a forge token, and the battle is over. She could forge both of these. She can forge this one because it's a forge token, or she can forge with that as well. So she could forge twice. What she can do with this, here and here, and then put this in her bag. Yeah. If she is not on a forge token, let's say she's here, she can still forge because she has this one. But this chip gives you the ability to forge. You, however, are not obliged. You don't have to use this one to forge with. You can say, okay, I use this chip to forge, so I put this one here. That's allowed. You can also say, I use this chip to forge, put it here. Also allowed. So you choose which one you forge with. Obviously, you want to forge with the lowest values. It's most important. Okay, so once the battle has gone all the way around, right? You fought here, you fought here, you fought here, you fought here, and that's the final battle. Then that's it. Whoever is first player, and the first player for the next round will be the player who has the least amount of points, will roll 3, 1, 2, 3. Next time the battle will start in Wit's End. Everybody stays, everything stays except the leaders. They go back to the head of the table. The Wonderlandians are refreshed, everything goes back in the deck, shuffle, 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 shuffle. 3 new comes out, the level 2 cards come out, and then you continue the game. One more thing about Wonderlandians. For example, I have the March Hare here. So the March Hare will stay there for the rest of the game if he doesn't die. If he dies, okay, he will come back to your board, and then in the next round, if you play a card, for example, this one, if you play this card, which allows you to place 1 follower or supporter or 1 unit on the board, you can, instead of using one of your regular supporters, you can put your Wonderlandian back out there, okay? So it can actually be a bit of a strategy if you want to make sure to group your Wonderlandians together or something. For example, at the end of this video, I have a link to a playthrough. There, spoiler alert, I lose 2 Wonderlandians at one point, but it ends up being a very positive experience by losing them. That means I could redeploy them, and it really gives you an edge. All right, so I think rules-wise, that's basically it. There's a lot of extra stuff that comes in. Wonderlandians giving you extra powers. All these chips have specific powers. I'll leave that up to you to figure out yourself, because they're all extremely self-explanatory. I said one thing that I really liked that I wanted to tell you about. That is this. I really love this. I have to say, I don't really look at this. I mean, there's some things I could say. For example, in a battle, when you have a castle, it's +2 strength. I forgot to mention that. And also, at the end of the game, final scoring, I'll get to that in a minute. They're also important. But with castles give you +2, and you can only have 1 castle in an area. If you have one already, don't worry about it. You're not going to have any more there. Just try to get castles everywhere. It's always a good strategy, it seems like. All right, so of course this is how you wage war. Fine, we've got that down. I don't check that anymore, but I always check this. At the end of the battle, what happens? Who gains what? Is there any forging? The wagers I haven't mentioned yet. I'll say that in a minute. And then you move everything to exhausted, and then reset. End of war phase. All these steps very important. Move the starting battle token. Return all the exhausted and madness chips to the bag. That's at the end of the war phase, right? When all the battles are finished. Supporters and Wonderlandians stay in regions. Leader back to the head of the table. Refresh the Wonderlandians. Prepare the next tea party. Now I didn't mention the wagers. Very important as well, kind of. Okay, let's say Alice is not in a battle. Okay, which is over here. There are no Alice units here. Alice has 2 cards and it has the Red Queen and the Jabberwock. You can see the Red Queen is here and the Jabberwock is here. So when they fight, before they start to fight, Alice can choose who she thinks she wins. So for example, she'd be like, okay, I think the Jabberwock is going to win this. So I'm going to leave this like this. And at the end of the battle, she reveals. If she is correct, she can get 1 weak chip. If she's wrong, she gets a shard. Okay. So this can be very useful especially for those quests that require you to have a lot of chips. Then this can really help if you wager correctly. Of course, this gets more difficult with more people, in the battle themselves. Yeah. So then also at the end of the game, the final scoring, which is very important, is you're going to be scoring your quest cards, which once again, potentially 9 points per card, can be very swingy. For example, I had one game where I had 45 points because I had 5 quests that I completely did. But then the last game I played, I only had 2 quests, which was 18. So you have the quests that you score, and then also your towers, because at the bottom of your track, you can see towers normally are 3 points, but you can upgrade them to 4 points, 5 points, or 6 points. Also, if you upgrade this track, at the end you get an extra 4 points, so that's also stuff that matters. And then at the end of the game, also important, all the shards that you have left on your board, they're minus points. So this would be -2. Okay. So if you want to see all this in action, I do have a playthrough on. But yeah, so that's basically how you play Wonderland's War. I don't believe I've left anything out. If I have, check the comments, because then I'll make a note there, or it might be in the video already as I'm going through it. But yeah, that's basically it. You have the player aids as well to help you, have an overview of everything, obviously, and that's basically it. Yeah. I will now tell you how I feel about the game. So let's do that, and at the end there's a link to the playthrough. Okay, so that was the how to play. Like I said, it was a little bit messy, right? Like I said in the intro, I've played 3 times now, and I have to say I enjoy this game immensely. I really love the theme. I'm not necessarily an Alice in Wonderland fan, I'm not, but it really works here. I mean, I can imagine you can easily put another theme on top of it, like, just a typical battle theme, because you are trying to, build towers and everything. But the Wonderland setting really, gives it a better spark with the Wonderlandians coming in and everything. It's really, really nice. Let's try to do a little bit more structured. First of all, component quality is amazing. It's amazing. I only have 2 little things to say about it that is not amazing, but let's do some positive things first. The art is super beautiful. All the Kickstarter extras that came along with it, the chips obviously, but also the standees, they're really nice in itself. But the miniatures are really, really good looking. I really want to paint them. I just hope I will paint them. That's something else. Like I said, the art amazing. The components in general really, really nice. The insert
really, really good. Everything has been nicely planned and everything fits the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. So what two caveats do I have? One small thing is that the small shards keep falling out of the box because they're too small, but I guess I can put something on top, so it's a really, really small thing. Another thing is the player boards. They're thin. Just think, say it, the original Terraforming Mars, I guess you could say. Even though I hardly remember those, to be honest, because I upgraded so much. Great Western Trail. The problem is the leader strength at the bottom, and it has a little thing. So many people keep bumping it off. In the playthrough that we had, I had some accidents that you can see there. But that's because of me. But then I'm not the only one, right? It's when things are allowed to move around, it can cause problems. Now, luckily, it's very easy to remember. You can always refer to your cards and see what was where. It's very, very rare that you get specific bonuses that you can't trace back. Okay, so it should be okay to, even if you have an accident, to still find your way around. But a double layered board would have been awesome. But I can imagine it's already a very expensive game. It's already a big game, so adding double layered would make it even bigger. So this is just a small nitpick, you know. Like if double layered boards didn't exist, I wouldn't even mention it. But yeah, quality wise, aside from that, really, really good. I guess it's a bit of a downer is that it takes up so much table space. Like the playthrough we didn't do at my home because I can't record there because it's too big for my table. We can play, but there's no room for the cameras, for the camera arm or other stuff, because the board literally has to go over the edge of the table like this. Okay, you could say that's just your table, man. That's true, but in general, it is quite a big footprint. It is not Hippocrates bad, okay? Hippocrates was huge, even bigger than this. But this one is equally, you know, it's quite big. But I do like that it has ways to actually lower the footprint a bit. Like if you use the LI reference card, you don't need to put all the cards out. You can keep the chips in the box if you want, even. Just make sure you take out the right ones. And then you're already creating more space, which I like at the same time. So it is workable, right? You can work with it, it's fine. Mechanics wise, I like the fact that you have two phases, but every character plays different in each phase. I have played with the Jabberwock, I have played with the Red Queen, and I have played with Alice, and I enjoyed all three of them. It is a little bit jarring, like when you play with the Red Queen first, which allows you to split your forces everywhere, and then you play with Alice and suddenly you're not allowed to split your forces anymore. It's kind of like, it's a bit strange. Like with Alice you go counterclockwise, but if you play with the Jabberwock you can no longer do that, or with the Queen you can't do that. If you Jabberwock, you can basically book a card, like, you know, put your poison on it. People are probably not going to take it, and then, you know, for sure, okay, you can step 2 cards in advance. You can plan two cards in advance, basically. And if they do take your card, you're giving them poison, so it's not bad. And all the individual powers are also very different. And several players have played with, like, for example, I play with the Red Queen, but then my friend played with the Red Queen, and she played differently. She played with the Mad Hatter before, and then my other friend played with the Mad Hatter, and she played that Mad Hatter differently. So it has a lot of replayability. And then we're not even talking about the fact that these are the A card skills, which we've done 3 times, because every time, first time we played was with 2 players, and then the second time was with 4, so we kept it simple. I mean, it's not that simple, but we kept it basic. And then the next time was for the recording, so I didn't want to introduce anything new because there might be mistakes or whatever. So next time we play, it's probably going to be with B or C or D, or mix and match, you know. Just have an A and a C and a D. And it makes a huge amount of differences, just that alone, which is awesome. So mechanic-wise, the fact that they're all very different is nice. There is a luck factor, of course. You do, especially with the quest cards, I think it suffers a little bit from the Ticket to Ride syndrome. I don't know. With that I mean, at the end of Ticket to Ride, you have certain connections already, and then you draw a new mission, or whatever it's called, and then, oh, I already have this, 3 points. That is what can happen with a quest as well. For example, if I draw this quest, okay, you always need to do the top, right? You always need to do the top. But at the end of the game, if I already have 5 strong ally chips and I do this, it's an instant 9 points, right? So that, in it, like that one game I had 45 points from quest cards, I really lucked out because every quest card I took was either very easy for me to do because I was already building towards it, or I already had it. So that's something that you have to take into account as well. That can happen, right? But then of course, it can also happen in one game. Every quest card I pulled was from Tulgey Woods. Always Tulgey Woods. But it's very difficult to do multiple quests in one area because first of all, you can't bust, but then you're more motivated to try to get what you need there. So it was basically very, very difficult to get that done. But there are cards that give you, if you take it, that can give you 2 quests, and you take 2 quests and you keep 1. So that already helps mitigate a little bit. And of course, other luck. Of course, you're drawing chips, you know. It's a push your luck game. That's also part of it. If that's not your cup of tea, your tea is here. If that's not your cup of tea, then it's probably not going to be for you. Remember, it can be like I had one battle, not on the video, but in a previous game, where I could have had 17 points in one battle. Now, remember, the maximum you can have in one area is 12. But it was a second round, I think, or something. I had the Walrus, which gives you 3 points, and a free tower. The tower gave me 6, so 6 plus 3 is 9. And then I guess the final points, if you won, were 8. So they would have given me 17. But I busted. Very painful. But so yeah, stuff like that can happen. Also, a very good Wonderlandian can come out after you've taken one. And you're like, oh, that one's so much better. And then somebody else can snap it up. But that's what happens with decks. That's what happens with, pulling stuff out of a bag. It's normal. Just be sure you realize that before you go into it. You can plan, but there's also a certain amount of luck. It's not a luck fest, okay? You still demand. You're still very much depends on which choices you make, which skills you unlock when you use certain skills. So it's still very strategic as well, but luck just plays a factor, right? Battle phase is fun. I've taken upon myself that I'm always going to wager because it's just more fun to do wagers, even though you get a shard, which is potentially -1 at the end of the game. I know, but still, it's just too much fun not to wager, right? Yeah, it's such a cool game. It's such a cool game. I enjoy playing it. I want to play with a different Wonderlandian every time. I've played with 3 of them now out of 5. Timing though. The box says 25 minutes per player, and I know, everybody knows, never read the box when it comes to playtime because it's never correct. So we played with 3 of us. The only thing that was new to us was that we played a new character, right? And then, even then, I think it still took 2 hours, while it was supposed to be, an hour and 15 minutes in total if you play with 3. I think that only is correct if you know the game. And I mean really know the game. Like, doesn't matter which character you play, you know what they do, you know what you're gonna do, and then only thing you have to wrap your head around is the quests and which cards you're gonna take. You know, and where to place your units, sure, but you don't have to really learn anything new anymore. But it's not a simple feat, you know, because it is what it is. You still have to read a lot of stuff. The Wonderlands that come out will interfere, will have an effect on your potential strategies. So yeah, when we play with 4 people, we play 3 hours. 3 hours and a half, I think. Of course, 2 of them played for the first time. But just keep that in mind. It's going to take a while. Don't just think, 25 minutes per player. We can hash this out in about an hour, maybe 2. Depending on how many players you're playing and you have to explain the game, it can take a while. My friend called this an afternoon game, not an evening game, just so you know. What else? Points wise, I guess it's always been quite close. Like the difference could be like once was 3 points. That was a 2-player game. Once was 10 points or 9 points, I think, and then again something like that. So the battles do matter as well, but so do the quests. Yeah, so do the towers. A lot of stuff matters. Yeah. Okay. All right, and then that's basically how I feel about it. I think this game will not leave my collection anytime soon. I love it. I love the push your luck mechanic. I love the fact that everything plays so differently. The cards that come out might change your strategy. I want to really see what all the other ones do, the B, the C, the D actions. I'm motivated to play more. I really am. Even though I still have a big shelf of games that I haven't played yet, I still want to play this more. It's a really good sign. This is the end of how I feel about it, but now I quickly want to talk about the 2-player game. What changes? Now, obviously, in the 2-player game, there's not going to be any wagering. There's no wagers, okay? The thing that changes is there's a 3rd player, but they're the rebellion. And the first round, they will put a cube or a player who's not playing on number 3 of the battle track. That means the 3rd place of the battle track. That means if you want to win a location, you need to tie with them or be higher than 3. You can't just march into a location, be the only one there and win. Yay. No, that's not going to happen. Second round is going to be 5. Third round is going to be 7. So it does force you to always battle, right? But once again, there's no wagering. Even if you're the only one fighting rebellion, they can't bet on you. So that's already out. And one thing that both my friend and I did not like is when you play with 2 players and you win, normally you can build a castle. Not in a 2-player game. You build half a castle. So the castle will be on its back, flat, on the spot. And then if you win again, or you build a castle in some other way, you can flip it up, and then you have a castle that counts towards the that has 2 strength, that gives you points. Those are the differences in 2-player games. And also you can have 5 cards instead of 4 during the tea party phase. So yeah, we were not a fan of the 2-player game. So it's a bit silly because we had a bunch of half upright towers lying around. It was all looked a bit, you know. So, and I can understand why they do it, because otherwise the towers would probably be up too quickly, right? You know. But yeah, so I don't know exactly what would be the solution. What would be the solution for that? But yeah, it looks kind of silly having a half tower lying around. It was fun getting more cards though. But yeah, so that's the 2-player experience, which we won't be revisiting, I imagine. Okay, so that was Wonderland's War. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe and like and comment and everything else. Check out the gameplay video. It's pretty fun, and yeah, that's it. Thank you. I was Joachim, and I will still be tomorrow, and so on. This is So Many Games All the Time. Bye bye.